Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Is that sect chief the only one in the flower sect who oppose Yun? What about the other experts? The flower sect can be considered a big faction with a long inheritance. The sect definitely possess quite a strong foundation. If the entire flower sect cannot accept Yun, it is likely that the other party will not take it lying down even if this trouble is settled unless one leave this sect. The flower sect does indeed possess quite a strong foundation. However, most of the true experts from the older generations spend their time in continuous retreat. If these older generations' experts are still in the sect, that woman would not be the one becoming the acting sect chief. As for the other elders, most of them are loyal to Granny Hua. They will naturally not have any objections to Granny Hua testaments. The only problem is that woman, Nalan Yangran explained. This is the case her, Xiao Yan nodded slightly. His expression warmed a little. If that woman is the only one who oppose, it would be easily to resolve the matter. Just go if you wish to. An elderly voice was suddenly transmitted over when Xiao Yang was in deep thought. Yao Lao's figure had appeared on a chair beside him at some unknown time and spoke smilingly towards him. Teacher. Xiao Yang was startled when he saw this. Immediately, he nodded. This matter was related to Yun. He would naturally be unable to shrink for it. Regardless of what the case was, he must make a trip to this flower sect. Nalan Yangran, by the side, became restrained when she saw Yao Lao. The current her was already aware of the reputation and status that Yao Lao possessed in the Central Plains. It was only natural for her to feel a little uneasy in front of such a big shot. It is unexpected that even that old woman Hua Yu has reached her limit. Yao Lao glanced at Nalan Yangran before sighing quietly and said. Xiao Yang was startled upon hearing Yao Lao's sigh. Immediately, he understood that this so-called old woman Hua Yu was the mysterious Granny Hua that Nalan Yangran spoke of. Immediately, he asked in a surprised manner, does teacher know her? This old woman became famous on the Central Plains much earlier than me. She could also be considered an extremely exciting and great person. Back then, I had the opportunity to meet her a couple of times. She is haughty and possesses many opponents. As for her crippled legs, it should be something that have happened after my incident. It is likely that she has suffered an extremely serious injury. Otherwise, her end would not come so quickly. Yao Lao nodded. Immediately, he smilingly said, however, that Yun is also considered quite fortunate. She is actually able to obtain the inheritance from this old woman. This old woman has never accepted any disciples all her life. Her character is eccentric and does not trust anyone easily. However, that Yun is able to obtain her trust. It must be said that she is a determined and blessed person. The flower sect possess many experts. That acting chief is not a cause for concern. With your current strength, it is not difficult to deal with her. The one who is a little more troublesome to deal with is her male companion Yao Hua Liangjun. However, I think that you should be able to deal with it. Yao Lao smiled. He flicked his finger and a cream-white jade tablet flew towards Xiao Yang. This is a spatial jade tablet that I have created. Should you meet with a situation that you cannot handle, you can shatter it. I will hurry over as fast as I can. Some of those old fellows from the flower sect owes me a favor from back then. Once you say my name, it is likely that they will not make things difficult for you. Xiao Yang immediately sensed the vast and mighty spatial strength within the jade tablet when he received it. A surprise flashed across his eyes as he nodded towards Yao Lao. Qinglin and I shall head over this time around. Tian Huazunja and Little Fairy Doctor are all undertaking a retreat and training. It is not nice to disturb them. Xiao Yang hesitated before speaking. In any case, with his current strength, he would be able to successfully escape even when meeting a 7-star Dozun expert. Moreover, Qinglin might only possess the strength of a 1-star Dozun, but after summoning the ancient heaven serpent spirit, she possessed a great strength that could fight against a 6-star elite Dozun. It is better for Tian Huazunja to remain here. I am thinking of a way to allow him to regain his peak strength. Although you have helped Little Fairy Doctor refine a poison pill, the true strength of Little Fairy Doctor's woeful poison body has also yet to be completely unleashed. I will aid her during this period of them. The next time you return, it is likely that you will see the strength of these two soaring, Yao Lao smilingly said. That is good. Xiao Yan also spoke joyously. With Yao Lao acting personally, it should not be difficult for Tian Huazunja to regain his peak strength. On the matter of how to unleash most of the woeful poison body's strength, Xiao Yang would naturally be unable to compare with the incredibly experienced Yao Lao. If it is possible, help Yun Yun become the chief of the flower sect during this trip of yours there. The flower sect is extremely powerful. If she is able to become the chief, the Falling Star Pavilion will also gain another reliable ally. Xiao Yang's voice had just sounded when a weak, and like voice suddenly sounded beside his ear. His eyes were lifted, only to see Yao Lao moving his lips. Immediately, he nodded with a bitter smile. Ever since the Misty Cloud sect was forcefully disbanded by him back then, Yun Yun had been resistant towards something like being the chief of a sect. Who could tell whether she will be willing to become the chief of the flower sect? All of you should also get moving. There is not much time left. After seeing Xiao Yang nodding, Yao Lao smiled, waved his hand and said, Understood. Xiao Yang nodded. He turned around and walked out of the hall. Nalan Yang ran behind, bowed respectfully to Yao Lao before hurriedly followed. After leaving the hall, Xiao Yang looked for Qing Lin. Subsequently, he ceased remaining any longer, as he got Nalan Yang ran to lead the way. The three of them hurried to the flower sect without stopping. The flower sect was located towards the western region of the Central Plains. There was quite a distance between it and the Falling Star Pavilion. Even with the speed of Xiao Yang trio, it was likely that they would need over 10 days to reach it. Fortunately, Qing Lin had summoned an expert from the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe, after having left the Falling Star Pavilion. Finally, she ordered him to transform into his actual body. The three of them rode on it. Only then did they avoid the bitterness from rushing about. An enormous black body shuttled through the clouds in the distant sky. When the enormous body twitched, a wave of low and deep rushing wind sound would appear. Xiao Yang sat on the back of the snake. Although the body of the 9 serene deep-ground python was covered with icy cold slippery scales, his body did not even move a little. Wild wind rushed past his ear, but his hair did not even make the slightest movement. At this moment, Xiao Yang had his eyes tightly shut. His mind had sunk deep into his brows. The bone-chilling flame was slowly emitting an unusual temperature at that spot. It was different from the other flames. This kind of flame would give one an extremely icy cold feeling. However, within this icy chillness hid a wild and violent hot energy. These two opposing energy merged perfectly together, causing one to involuntarily praise the mysteriousness of this world. Xiao Yang's brows was where his spiritual strength lingered. However, it was fortunate that Xiao Yang had already planted a spiritual imprint into the current bone-chilling flame. Hence, the mysterious temperature did not bring about any discomfort to Xiao Yang's soul. Instead, it caused his spiritual fluctuation to become increasingly lively. The bone-chilling flame burned fiercely. That white fire seal between Xiao Yang's brows was also emitting a slight light. At this moment, he was continuously and slowly merging his spiritual strength into the bone-chilling flame. This heavenly flame had been refined by Yao Lao for many years. Even though Yao Lao had already removed his spiritual imprint, the flame still had some vague resistance towards other souls. What Xiao Yang needed to do was to gradually allow the bone-chilling flame to get used to him, his new owner, and resolve the resistance. Originally, this should be a process that exhausts a great amount of time. However, on the first attempt by Xiao Yang to strengthen the familiarity between the two, he suddenly discovered that the bone-chilling flame's acceptance towards him had far exceeded his expectation. On top of causing him to be surprised, it also gave him great joy. Xiao Yang only needed to think for a moment before understanding this kind of transformation. When Yao Lao was captured back then, he had sealed the bone-chilling flame within Xiao Yang's body. The latter had also gained control over it. After being together for all these years, Xiao Yan could actually also be considered the second owner of the bone-chilling flame. Currently this second owner was advancing to become the main owner. The familiarity between the two would naturally soar swiftly. According to this speed, Xiao Yan guessed that he would be able to use the flame mantra to refine the bone-chilling flame very soon. This kind of speed, perhaps even Yao Lao would not have expected it. During the subsequent journey, Xiao Yang would basically focus his mind and allow his soul to merge with the bone-chilling flame. Under this endurance and hard work of his, the resistance within the bone-chilling flame swiftly became weaker with each day. Xiao Yang shut his eyes and sunk his mind into his body on the enormous snake back. Even his breathing had become much weaker. The fire seal between his brows slowly emitted a faint glow while he breathed. Nalan Yangran and Qinglin by the side turned their eyes away after glancing at this situation of his. They had basically already gotten used to this act of Xiao Yang during this period of time. When these two people turned their eyes away, Xiao Yang's tightly shut eyes trembled slightly. The fire seal between his brows suddenly emitted a glaring fire glow. In the next instant, the fire seal appeared to have been revived. It slowly wiggled and actually seeped into Xiao Yang's skin. Finally, it disappeared. This sudden unexpected change had also caused Nalan Yangran and Qinglin to be startled. Before they could speak, Xiao Yang's tightly shut eyes were slowly opened. His dark black eyes currently had a dense white flame burning within it. At this moment, the resistance within the bone-chilling flame had actually been completely refined and removed by Xiao Yang. Dense white flame filled both of Xiao Yang's eyes. It was a long while later before they slowly paled. Following the disappearance of the flame, his eyes also once again recovered its clearness. A turbid vapor was being exhaled from Xiao Yang. His face was covered by a layer of faint fluorescence. There was a joy that could not be hidden vaguely present on it. He had never expected that he would actually be able to successfully remove the resistance within the bone-chilling flame towards him within this short dozen over days. Currently, the bone-chilling flame has already completely merged with me. It can be swallowed anytime. Xiao Yang's revealed an expression of deep thought. The time needed to refine and swallow the bone-chilling flame would definitely be quite long. If one counted the time of their journey, they should be arriving at the flower sect soon. It was clearly not the best time to swallow it now. I should wait for Yun Yun's matter to be settled before swallowing and refining it. Xiao Yang made up his mind and relaxed. He suppressed the fiercely burning bone-chilling flame between his brows before turning his gaze towards Nalan Yangran by the side. He asked, "How long more will it be before we can reach the flower sect?" "It should be within these 2 days. We have already entered the northeastern area and are close to the flower sect." "Yes, Qinglin, increase the speed a little and try to reach the flower sect as soon as possible." Xiao Yang nodded slightly while his eyes turned towards Qinglin and said. As they became increasingly closer to the flower sect, there was a kind of anxious feeling vaguely present in his heart. He wondered just how that person, whom he had not met for many years, would be like now. Qinglin by the side also smiled and nodded. Her small hand patted the snake back under her. That snake figure shook and the speed at which they shuttled through the sky was suddenly increased. 3 days later, Xiao Yang's trio, who were weary from the travel, had finally slowed down while they were in air above a mountain range that stretched endlessly. Nalan Yenran's eyes swept in all directions. Finally, she slowly landed. A flower petal-shaped thing shot out from within her storage ring. That flower petal-shaped thing had just shot out when it entered the space in front of him. A strange ripple was emitted from that space. A moment later, an enormous spatial barrier appeared in front of Xiao Yang's group's eyes. Such a large spatial barrier, what grandness! A surprise also flashed across Xiao Yang's eyes when he saw this spatial barrier. This flower sect might not possess the strength to create a realm, but this kind of technique, to use a spatial barrier to hide the location of the sect, did not appear insignificant. The spatial barrier slowly fluctuated. Immediately, it split apart and formed a spatial crack line. Nalan Yangran beckoned Xiao Yan and Qing Lin. After which, she took the lead to walk in. Qing Lin hurriedly kept the 9 serene deep-ground python, and swiftly followed her with Xiao Yang. Their eyes were dazzled when they entered the spatial barrier. A kind of unusually dense flower fragrance came pouncing at them. The interior of this kind of flower fragrance vaguely appeared to be filled with an extremely powerful natural energy. What a mysterious place! Xiao Yang was in the mid-air. He looked at this world that was hidden behind the spatial barrier. A surprised gasp and expression appeared on his face. An endless number of flower mountains appeared in front of Xiao Yang's group. These mountains were filled with bright-colored flowers. Looking from a distance, it appeared just like a sea of flowers. When a breeze blew, the beautiful flower petals would dance in the sky. This scene appeared just like paradise. How beautiful! Qing Lin's face was intoxicated as she muttered while looking at this paradise scene. This sea of flower should be a formation of sorts. Xiao Yang watched this sea of flower that spread to the horizon. A ripple appeared within his eyes. He could sense that this sea of flower hid an extremely majestic energy. Even the flower petals that danced in the sky vaguely had a kind of special mysterious orbit. Nalan Yangran nodded when she heard Xiao Yang's words. She smilingly said, "This is the sect-protecting formation of the flower sect. If one does not have a method to enter it, one will end up getting lost in this sea of flower. A person will be forever trapped inside without anyone to lead him. These flowers should be ecstasy flowers, right? Unexpectedly, there is actually so many of this kind of extremely rare flower in the outside world in this place." Xiao Yang sniffed the flower fragrance in the air and said, "It does not completely consist of ecstasy flowers. There are also some strange flowers that can be used to greatly strengthen the effect of the ecstasy flowers." Nalan Yangran smiled slightly. Her words had just sounded when a faint gong sound was vaguely emitted from within the sea of flowers. This gong sound, the match is about to begin. Quick, follow me. Do not take a wrong path. Otherwise, you will end up being lost within this sea of flowers. Nalan Yenran's expression changed slightly when she heard this gong sound. She immediately urged with her words. Her body moved and she rushed towards the sea of flowers. Her flying path was quite strange. It was not a straight line. Instead, it took a couple of curves. Xiao Yang and Qing Lin, who were behind, let out a bitter laughter when they saw this. They could only hurriedly follow Nalan Yenran's flight path, and swiftly gave chase. There was an extremely majestic mountain range at the end of the sea of flowers. Clouds lingered on the mountain. Fresh flowers adorned it. Most of these perilous cliffs had some buildings standing on them. One could vaguely see some alluring figures and hear the laughter of ladies. There was a towering mountain standing at the middle of the mountain range. The mountain was extremely wide. Numerous buildings stood on it. The top of the mountain was an enormous square that spread apart. The square was built using green rocks. There were images of flower petals around it while an unusual fragrance lingered. At this moment, there were quite a number of figures standing around the square. Their eyes looked towards the square and the atmosphere was quite serious. A man and a woman were standing on the middle of the square. The woman was wearing a graceful dress. There were flowers sewed using golden threads on the clothes. At a glance, it seemed that her status was quite high. She also possessed quite a great appearance. However, her somewhat thin red lips vaguely revealed a meanness. A man was standing lazily beside this woman. His hand was holding onto a fan with beautiful women drawn over it. This man was tall and possessed a handsome face. There was an evilness vaguely being emitted from him. A fresh blood-like bright red spot between his brows had caused this evilness to be magnified by countless number of times. Yun, time's up, you should reveal yourself. When the gong slowly sounded, the long eyes of the gracefully clothed woman also narrowed slightly, as she coldly cried out. A rushing wind sound was emitted from the mid-air, when the cry of this gracefully clothed woman sounded. Immediately, a white figure gently drifted over. After which, his legs gently landed on the square. When the white figure landed on the square, all of the eyes present turned towards her. Even though it was not the first time seeing her, a surprised expression still surfaced in the eyes of many. The woman in the square was wearing a white blouse and skirt. Dark black ink-like long hair was scattered down like waterfall and reached her waist. That extremely beautiful appearance appeared, just like a flower fairy in the mountains that did not bother about the mundane and was filled otherworldly enchantment. When both of her eyes rotated, they seemed to possess a clarity that seeped deep into one's bones. There was not the slightest desire to compete. Such a woman can only be described by two words. Peerless bearing. Who else could possess such a bearing other than Yun, who had been separated from Xiao Yan for many years? The few years had caused her to be just like the wine that was brewed deep underground, causing her to be increasingly intoxicating. It even gave one the impulse of not waking from the intoxication. That comfortable cloud-like elegance caused quite a number of elders within the flower sect to quietly nod their heads. No wonder the sect chief would hand over the position to Yun before she died. Just on this point alone, there was clearly a great gap between these two women. The evil-looking man, beside the gracefully dressed woman, had a fiery hot expression flashing across his eyes when he saw the white-dressed woman. Such an exquisite beauty had a lethal allure towards someone who loves beauty like his life. The eyes from around the place that had suddenly gathered onto Yun also caused the gracefully clothed woman to tighten her hand. A deep jealousy flashed across her eyes. She coldly laughed. I thought that you will not dare to come today. Sect chief, I do not have any desire for the position of sect chief. Why must you force me in such a bitter manner? Yun knitted her brows slightly. She looked at the aggressive gracefully dressed woman and said, Humph, if you wish to remain safe, you should hand over the previous sect chief's Do Chi. This sect leader has kindly accepted you back then. It is unexpected that you actually dare to try and lay your fingers on my flower sect's chief position. The gracefully dressed woman coldly cried out. If I was aware that Granny Hua was the chief of the flower sect, I would not have rescued her. Yun shook her head and softly said, as for that Do Chi seal, it had been left behind in my body by Granny Hua. If you really want it, you can come and get it. Humph, do you really think that this sect chief is afraid of you? The gracefully clothed woman laughed coldly. Immediately, she glanced at the evil man, only to see that the latter was staring at Yun. A fury immediately surged within her heart, as she cried out, Yao Liang, Liang is like a lover, attack with me. Yun, you possess the inheritance of the old sect chief. I think that you should have no problem fighting two alone. You are also aware of the flower sect's rules. A couple can fight together. The gracefully clothed woman turned her eyes towards Yun and laughed coldly. Do not say that I am bullying you. If you have a companion, you can also call him along. The brows of quite a number of flower sect's elders were knitted slightly when they heard these words from the gracefully clothed woman. A slight smile appeared on Yun's face. She slowly shook her head and softly said, Sect chief can just attack. I do not. Before Yun had finished speaking, a rushing wind sound was suddenly transmitted from the sky. Immediately, a figure hurried over from the distance with lightning-like speed. Within a couple of flashes, the figure had already appeared beside Yun on the square. After which, the figure grabbed Yun's hand in front of many stunned eyes. At the same time, an extremely nauseating teasing voice sounded, causing Yun's face to redden almost instantly. Little Yuna, I'm not late, am I? Numerous eyes on the square were stunned as they looked at the man, who had suddenly barged in and grabbed Yun's hand. In an instant, the entire place actually became quiet. Everyone looked at each other and was somewhat uncertain of the reason for this occurrence. You? Xiao Yan? Why are you here? Yun's face was red from embarrassment. She also somewhat stunned as she stared at the young man wearing a teasing smile on his face beside her. A moment later, she finally involuntarily cried out loud. You can't expect me to simply stand idly by the side if you are in trouble, right? Xiao Yang observed this peerless beauty in front of him. There was an additional unconscious gentleness in his voice. It is Yang Ran. Yun was slightly startled before she comprehended the situation. Immediately, she sensed the heat that was transmitted from her hand. She hurriedly pulled her hand out from Xiao Yang's palm, with a beautiful red face, and spoke in a somewhat cautious manner. This is the flower sect. How can you simply recklessly barge in? You have already hid from me so many years. It should be enough, no? Xiao Yang smiled slightly and said. Who is hiding from you? Who is the one who has come? Tell me your name. You actually dare barge into my flower sect? That graceful clothed woman focused her eyes onto Xiao Yang and cried out coldly. From this manner, it seemed that this young man was a helper that Yunyun had found. You can treat me as Yunyun's companion. Xiao Yang glanced at the gracefully clothed woman and spoke in a casual manner. Yunyun's face reddened upon hearing these words of Xiao Yang. She looked at the latter in an embarrassed and angry manner. However, Xiao Yang ignored her. His eyes merely stared at those two people on the opposite side. Someone with a mere 2-star Do Zun strength also dares to act arrogantly here. This venerable self thinks that you are tired of living. The evil-looking man beside the gracefully clothed woman gently flapped the foldable fan in his hand. A chillness, however, surged within his eyes. The intimate act between Xiao Yang and Yunyun caused his heart to feel somewhat displeased. Yunyun, you have said yourself that you do not have a companion. Yet, you end up being unable to help yourself and have called someone over her. The gracefully clothed woman laughed coldly. It's just as well. You can call if you like. Otherwise, you might end up saying that this chief is bullying you. Today, I'll allow you and this little fellow to fight together. If you are defeated, you will hand over the Do Chi from the previous sect chief. Yunyun knitted her brows when she heard this. She did not wish to drag Xiao Yang into this internal fight within the flower sect. She took a step forward and was just about to speak when Xiao Yang by the side stopped her. Leave it to me. Yunyun was startled when she heard the calm tone of Xiao Yang. Her pretty eyes observed the young man beside her and saw the firm lines on the side of his face. An absent-mindedness appeared within her heart. After having not met him for a couple of years, the current Xiao Yang was no longer the tender youth from back then. Currently, the latter also possessed quite a strong reputation even within the Central Plains, which was filled with experts. The present him already truly possessed the qualification and strength to stand in front of her and block all the storms. Yes. Some words lingered on her mouth for a moment. In the end, it finally transformed into a low and submissive voice. There is naturally no problem if you wish to have a match. However, the stakes of this match appears a little too laughable. If you win, you will end up getting the inherited Do Chi of Yunyun. However, if you lose, you will not lose anything. Do you think that there's such good things in this world? Xiao Yang demanded faintly. The gracefully clothed woman narrowed her eyes. She coldly laughed. If this chief loses, Yunyun can safely leave the flower sect. No one will pester her. If it is only like this, there is no need for this match. Xiao Yang's expression turned slightly cold as he said. You dare. What do you treat my flower sect as a place you can come and leave as you please? The graceful clothed woman's expression changed when she saw this. She cried out furiously, even if you can leave the flower sect today, you will be chased after by the flower sect for the rest of your life. If you dare, you can come and chase me all the way to the Falling Star Pavilion. Xiao Yang did not give in when faced with the furious cry of this gracefully clothed woman's threat. He merely laughed coldly. Falling Star Pavilion. That gracefully clothed woman was startled when she heard this. Her expression immediately changed a little as she spoke in a disturbed manner. You are someone from the Falling Star Pavilion. The flower sect had also heard about the matter of the Falling Star Pavilion producing an elite bansheng. With an expert of that class present, the Falling Star Pavilion need not be afraid of the flower sect with its strength. Moreover, no one would forget that the elite bansheng of the Falling Star Pavilion was also a top alchemist on the Do Chi continent. I am Xiao Yang. My teacher is Yao Chen. Before I left, teacher has instructed me to represent his elderly self, to greet the elders of the flower sect, should I end up meeting them. Xiao Yang suddenly raised his eyes. He looked towards the lush green mountain range around the flower sect. His loud cry spread while containing some dou qi before resounding continuously within the entire place. Ever since he had stepped into the flower sect, Xiao Yan could vaguely sense that there were some hidden auras present within the mountain range. These auras were all extremely powerful. It was likely that they should belong to some experts from the older generation in the flower sect, who do not show themselves. Xiao Yang might not be afraid of the other experts from the flower sect. However, he must be cautious of these old demons. Xiao Yang. That gracefully clothed woman and the Yaohua Langjuan's expression changed slightly when they heard Xiao Yang announce his name. They did not expect that Xiao Yang would actually possess such a background. Those flower sect's disciples from the surrounding square also conversed privately amongst themselves. Numerous curious eyes gathered onto Xiao Yang. The flower sect only had female disciples. They were naturally interested in a young and outstanding man like Lin Dong. It is actually Yao Chen's disciple. That old fellow is really considerate. If I have time in the future, I will definitely visit the Falling Star Pavilion. Soon after Xiao Yang's loud cry sounded, a somewhat hoarse elderly voice was slowly emitted from within the mountain range. Finally, it resounded over the square. Xiao Yang cupped his hands together respectfully in the direction where the voice originated from. After which, his eyes turned towards the capricious gracefully clothed woman and laughed faintly. Hua Jin, since Mr. Xiao Yang has a request, let's listen to him. An elderly woman towards the north of the square slowly opened her mouth and said. From her dressing, she should be an elder of the flower sect. Moreover, her status seemed to be quite great. Hearing this, the gracefully clothed woman called Hua Jin could only clench her teeth unwillingly. She said, if you have some words to say, just say them quickly. If we end up losing this match, the dou qi inheritance within Yun Yun's body will be handed to you. If your side loses, the position of the flower sect chief will be handed to Yun Yun. Xiao Yang said. So you are after my position as the chief of the flower sect. Hua Jin's expression was dark and cold as she laughed furiously. Xiao Yang, I am not interested in being the sect chief. Do not add any more trouble. Yun Yun by the side also hurriedly said. Granny Hua has originally transferred the position of sect chief to Yun Yun. Yet, you have shamelessly snatched the jade tablet representing the sect chief. Currently, she is merely just taking back the thing that Granny Hua has given her. Xiao Yang laughed coldly. You? What a sharp-tongued brat. The expression of Hua Jin gradually became icy cold when she saw Xiao Yang acting in such an unceremonious manner. However, she did not respond. She was only an acting sect chief. Honestly speaking, not many elders within the sect supported her. If it was not because she had been groomed by Granny Hua back then for over a decade, it was likely that it would not even be her turn to take this acting sect chief spot. If anything unexpected really occurred this time around, it was likely that the position would really not have any relation to her. Damn old woman. I have followed you for over a decade. Don't tell me that cannot surpass the 3 years this slut stayed with you. A fury burned within Hua Jin's heart along with her sense of reasoning when she thought of how Granny Hua had left the greatest treasure to Yun Yun. Hua Jin inhaled a deep breath of air. She suppressed the fury within her heart. Her eyes suddenly turned towards Yaohua Liangjun beside her. The latter was the stronger between the two. Everything would be determined by what he thought. Yaohua Liangjun glanced indifferently at Xiao Yang, appearing to be aware of what Hua Jin was thinking in her heart. The fan in his hand was flapped slowly. He had also heard some rumors about Xiao Yang. However, rumors was after all rumors. They were usually exaggerated. Moreover, with his 6-star Dozun strength, there were hardly anyone, even within this flower sect, who could beat him. Regardless of how great Xiao Yang was, he merely had the strength of a 2-star Dozun. It was not so easy to surpass this 4-star difference. Yaohua Liangjun nodded when he thought of this. His eyes paused on Xiao Yang as he calmly said, since you have such a request, we will do as you say. You can be rest assured that this venerable self will ensure that you remain alive on account of Yao Chen's face. Xiao Yang finally smiled slightly when he heard this. He turned his head and softly spoke to Yun Yun, "You should step back a little. I will take care of it." You alone?" Yun Yun was startled. Her face was filled with surprise. The other party had a 6-star dozun and a 4-star dozun. Xiao Yan was merely a 2-star dozun. Was he not seeking death by fighting against the two of them alone? "You have only just gained the strength of a dozun, and you have yet to refine that inherited do qi. You will definitely be no match for them if you fight. Relax, it will be over soon." Xiao Yang spoke softly. He could sense the terrifying do qi within Yun Yun's body. However, this do qi was not something that she could control at this moment. Her own strength was definitely insufficient to be a match for that Hua Jin. Yun Yun looked at Xiao Yang somewhat doubtfully. However, due to her trust in the latter, she did not open her mouth again. She could only nod slowly and took a step back. Xiao Yang stepped forward when he saw Yun Yun stepped back. Dense white flame slowly lingered within his eyes. A frightening temperature spread out, causing the entire place to immediately become hot. "Since all of you have come to an agreement, let the match begin." An elder from the flower sect waved her sleeve and cried out loudly when she saw the tensed swords-drawn atmosphere. After the voice of that elder from the flower sect sounded, an icy cold smile was lifted onto Yaohua Liangjuan's face. Her toes pressed on the ground and her body rushed towards Xiao Yang in a ghost-like manner. Vast and mighty do qi spread out in all directions. This venerable self shall see just how much of Yao Chen's ability does his disciple have. Part 1 end here.